Hello guys, welcome back to Multimagic channel. In the previous video we discussed about the performance module. In this video we are going to discuss about another module, that is deployment automation module. So for shortcut we named it as APN-DAM. Okay. So as you know that we are following this sprint mechanism. So in sprint 1 this team is going to build this UI. So in this you have a tab which is named as app configuration. Inside that you have a basic configuration, and also in future you'll have kind of advanced configuration. So here inside this basic configuration you have some basic app configuration elements. Those are, for example, we have app name, bundle identifier, app icon, and so on. Okay, in advanced configuration we'll think of it later. Okay, for now, for this sprint one, you guys are going to, this team is going to build this layout. Okay, so to do this we also made a small building block on which they have to build this layout. So that building block is this. So here we have a feature preview. Ignore this, but what you have to focus is you have to focus on this part, where you have app configuration tab and beta testing tab. In the app configuration tab, I just added a single word, that is app inside, and in beta testing I just kept some dummy text and all. Okay, I just kept some prototype of text, and rest of the dashboard is static. We don't have anything, and everything is static except one thing, that is, if you observe here the top right corner, if you click on this, you'll be able to choose three options, that is system, light, and dark. If you click on this dark mode, the whole UI will respond with the respective mode which is selected. If you click on light again, the whole layout will respond based on the mode which you selected. So okay, so make sure you guys implement, or the team should implement the configurations, the input elements, or whatever the whole UI elements, whatever they are going to build for the sequential sprints. They have to make sure that all the elements should respond with respect to the light and the dark mode. Okay, now coming back to this, yes, this is what they are going to build, and I already showed you the module, the building block which we are going to give to them. So yep, without any delay, let's jump into the overall system diagram, and let us understand what is the overall system diagram of this deployment automation module. So in this deployment automation module, we will have three props as the input for this module. Okay, those three props are role, package type, and is authenticated flag. Okay, so role is nothing but it defines the role of the user, whether the role of the user is just a user role or the admin role. And coming to the package type, whether the user, what is the type of the package that user opts for, whether it is premium or the basic package. And coming to this is authenticated flag. So basically this flag defines whether the user is authenticated or not. Okay, so these are the initial three props which will send to this main entry of this module. Okay, so this is the main entry of this module. So inside this main module we have two components, that is DA display controller, DA preview controller. DA means deployment automation display controller. DA preview controller means deployment automation preview controller. So before jumping into what is display controller, what is preview controller, I just wanted to make sure that you get some clear understanding of what those both components will do or responsible for. Okay, so coming to display controller, display controller is solely responsible for handling data operations. Okay, and preview controller is solely responsible for rendering controls. To say that in layman terms, this will handle and this will take care of everything. I mean, data management, logic management, each and everything, and this will take care of what to display and what not to display and all. Okay, so coming back to this part. Okay, fine, we understood the basic essence of what is display controller and what is DA preview controller. Okay, now let us dive deep into this. So DA display controller is something like the heart of this deployment automation module. So inside this, if you concentrate on the first block, this one, here you are using a hook, that is use DAM hook, use DAM state hook. Okay, so we use this hook to communicate with state management. We use this hook to communicate with state management, this part. Okay, so before moving to the next part, let me clarify you what is state management actually. What actually state management does? State management is actually a centralized store to handle data. A centralized store to handle data. Okay, so basically we can perform all CRUD operations, whatever we want to do. It is accessible for the whole ecosystem, for the whole module. These are centralized. I mean, these are all the modules, whatever we have. Everything can communicate with this state management. Okay, and everyone can come and take the data from this state management. So that is why it is named as the centralized store. Okay, so yep, we use this use DAM state hook to communicate with the state management. Okay, going to the next part, we have this use effect hook. So use effect hook, you guys know this, okay, right? So use effect hook means that is the hook which will be called automatically whenever the component renders. Okay, so basically inside this, if you see, it fetches allowed features and controls. It fetches allowed features. It fetches allowed features when role package or is authenticated changes. Okay, let us take a scenario where user is unauthenticated user came inside this module. Okay, so this is the place it will check whether the user is authenticated or not. If he is not authenticated, he'll return, or if not, we'll call this function, that is get allowed DA features. So where is the implementation of this function? The implementation of this function, once again, yep, the implementation of this function is inside the DA feature handler. So basically DA feature handler is solely responsible to return the features, whatever accessible for the user who has this package and who is on this role. Okay, so basically it will return the list of features. Where will this DA feature handler get the features from? It will get those features from DA feature config. It is just a JSON configuration, JSON file, where we'll configure something like for this type of role, for this package, we can allow this feature. This type of data structure will be inside this feature config. Okay, so coming to this, the functionality of this DA feature handler, let us go through this. So it checks each and every feature in DA feature config file. It uses role package type to check permission. If the feature is accessible, then it adds to the result list. So at the end, we'll have the list of features which are allowed for this package and for this row. And now we got the list, right? So what we'll do, we'll just send it to display controller. Okay, so what does this display controller does? Now we have the features, right? So we have the features, and what we'll do is we'll update these features. We'll update these features inside the state management. Let me show you. Yes, this is what it means. We'll update these features inside this state management. Okay, fine. Till now we got the features, but we haven't yet spoken about anything related to UI, right? So in this discussion, I have been telling you that display controller is solely responsible to handle the data, and preview controller is solely responsible to rendering the data, rendering the controllers or features. What features? Okay, so now on that note, we have features right now. Okay, inside, where do we have the features? We have the features inside the state management, because display controller got the features and display controller updated the features inside the state management, right? So these features we got from DC, display controller. Okay, let me keep it like this, that way it makes sense. Okay, we got the features from state management. We got the features from state management. Now what this preview controller does is it will also use the hook, and it will grab the features to the preview controller. I'll show you what I mean actually. So here we got the updated features list, right? So if you observe this line, so basically it is taking the features list using this use DAM state hook. Okay, this is the same hook which our display controller was using to communicate with the state management. Okay, so this is how each and every component will communicate with the state management. Okay, so we use this hook and we extracted the features, and now what? We got the features, right? So we got the features, and now what we are going to do is let me show you this one. Okay, here this is a feature, app configuration is a feature. Okay, so if you see, we got app configuration to preview controller AC, right? So now what we'll do, we are going to display the app config preview component. Okay, so what does this app config preview does? It will just display the tab, the main tab. I'll show you the main tab, this app configuration. We are not displaying anything here, this app name, bundle identifier, and app icon and all. We are not displaying anything. All we got is, we just got a tab which has the name app configuration, like this. That's all. We got this UI till now. Okay, so yep, we got the features, and features are updated in the state management. Now preview controller display. Okay, finally now the features are sent to the DA feature controller. This DA feature controller is solely responsible for, to make it clear, I will take a small example. We got the features, right? So we have many features. We have app configuration feature, and we have build feature, build process. Like that we have many features. So why don't we use a controller which will take the features and which will pass to the respective feature hub. Okay, so this middle box or this middle controller is the feature controller. So feature controller is responsible to take the list of features array, and what it does is it passes that list, it triggers those respective feature hubs. We got app, for now we have only app configuration feature, right? So we got that app configuration feature, and what will this do? This will trigger the app config controller. Okay, now coming to this app config controller, we are using the same use DAM state hook, which is used to communicate between which is used to communicate with the state management. Okay, let us jump into this use effect hook. If you see this use effect hook, it is almost similar to what the display controller is doing. Okay, so it fetches the allowed features. It fetches the allowed one second. It fetches the allowed APIs and controls when the role, package, or is authenticated changes. Okay, so if you see here, it gets app config allowed controls, it gets app config allowed APIs for those respective controls. Okay, so where it is getting the controls from? It is getting the controls from control handler. Where it is getting the API allowed APIs from? It is getting the allowed APIs from API handler. So where are these handlers? I mean this API handler and control handler getting the data from? From the configuration file. If you observe, the design is pretty similar with this. Okay, so let us let us dive into this app config API handler. Okay, for each feature we get relevant control configs from app config API config. Okay, and after that we also added dispatch function. I mean, let's not worry about that, but we'll get a list of controls list. Okay, so what we'll do, we got the controls, we got the API list, and we got the controls list. What we'll do is we'll just return those APIs and those controls to app config hub. Okay, fine. Till now, the only UI which we rendered was the app configuration tab. That's all. Now we got the controls too. We got the APIs too. Now what should we render? We should render the controls, right? So APIs are something like which will send the request to backend. So that is not related to front end. So that is not related to anything based on UI. So coming back to the controls, we can render the controls actually. So we got the controls. So what are we doing? We are just dispatching an action that we got the controls of app config. So the app config controls will be updated inside the state management, and through state management we are using this use DAM state hook again. So using that we are getting the state app config controls. Using these controls which we got from the state management, we are just rendering the controls. Okay, so this is how the UI rendering is happening, and this is how in each layer, in this layer we displayed the features. After that, in this layer we displayed the controls. Now the only thing what we had left with is APIs. Okay, we also got APIs, right? Allowed APIs. So what do we have to do? We need to send these APIs to our backend. So to send that API to backend, we have a service that is app config service. So this app config service will take care of app config. I mean, we'll call the respective APIs, that is set app config API, set metadata. Like that, we'll have multiple APIs till nth. Okay, so in this sprint, this team are going to build till this layer. They are not going to focus on the backend right now, but in sequence of the sprints, they might focus on the backend too. But for now, in this sprint, they are going to bring the APIs for the respective controls, and they are just going to send the request using those APIs, and they are going to achieve this UI layout. Okay then, I hope you understood the whole sprint 1 task and the whole overall system architecture diagram of this deployment automation module, and you got some clarity of what you wanted to do in sprint 1. So with this, with a happy note, I am going to stop this video. Happy learning. Thank you so much.